the Real Estate U podcast with Lettiann.
Hello there, and welcome back to Real Estate U with Lettiann. Today I have on my show Tracey Hawkins, the safety lady. Hi, Tracy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lettiann. It's great to be here.
So good to see you. I've known Tracy for at least 2 decades. Unfortunately, we hardly ever get to see each other, but of late, we've reconnected. You're doing amazing things, Tracy. And for those of you who don't know Tracy, she couldn't be a bigger advocate for realtor safety. The safety of the real estate agent, but not only the real estate agent for personal, I'd say personal protection and one's own personal safety. I believe you even have a line of products that you sell for safety items. Is that right, Tracy?
Pepper spray, alarms, and a safety app. Everything, yes.
Yeah. and more than that, I've seen all these great devices. It's good to be proactive, and let's first start with what I do at an open house. So, and as we talked about before, my mother has always said, please watch out for your personal safety. And this is when I was a little girl, all the way through her watching Oprah and being safe and all of that stuff. And just because it's someone who's very handsome or attractive, don't be misled, hence the Ted Bundy stuff. I won't even go there with that. But as a real estate professional, we're oftentimes by ourselves. So I've always exercised this. If I'm at an open house, I go into the house before the open house, before I even lock the door behind me, and I go in, I make sure I have an exit route. So if I'm sitting in the kitchen, I've unlocked the storm door and the screen door or the sliding glass door that I'm sitting right next to. So if I happen to, if the person who's coming into the home, I never want to put that guest, if it's a guest, between me and the front door. But if that is inevitably going to happen, I've already got my route out the back. I've got my car keys in my pocket, and I keep my cell phone in my jacket or my pants. So if anything awkward happens, one, I'm using the app. Thank God for, thank you, KCRAR, for the safety app on our phone where we hold the button down until I realize, oh, it's the neighbor next door and the rest of the family's coming in. Now, they've changed that app. What's it called now? They've recently changed it. It was Lifestyles.
It's the same company, but a different name.
It is a different name. We'll get
the same
that.
Company.
But I'll tell you, I have that app open. You'll be proud of me, Tracy. I have that app open. I have my exit route, my car keys, and I could care less about my purse. But I normally don't bring a purse in anyway. They can have my laptop, right? I'm running like nobody's business out. But I don't trust the person coming in until they prove themselves trustworthy. So everyone. And we know with the real estate agent in Help Me, Louisiana, the gal who was abducted by a couple.
Beverly Carter.
Yes, Beverly. So remember, the husband called, said, we want to see this house. Well, the man called her and said, I want to see this house. And she said, oh, no, I'm sorry. I've never met you. It's a vacant home, whatever she happened to say. And he said, oh, would it make you feel better if you spoke to my wife? I'll be honest with you, Tracy, if that were me, and someone said, oh, hey, hi, Lettiann. Yeah, my husband and I would love to meet you at the property. I probably would have gone, okay. Because most women don't commit violent crimes. Is that right?
Might I interrupt you for a moment?
Let me do the bell. Okay.
and so often that's the mindset. And I got an opportunity to interview Beverly's office mate. I write for the National Association of Realtors magazine. And she said that after Beverly got the phone call, the guy said, hey, I'm a cash buyer. And you know what real estate agents do when they hear cash buyer? I was a real estate agent. My sister Stacy's an agent. You know what we do? We go, we're excited. And then she started thinking about it. She's like, wait a minute, I don't know him. So exactly like you said, she called him back and he said, hey, I'm bringing my wife. I'll put her on the phone now. We now know it was his accomplice. But like you, all of us, we let our guards down. Oh, it's a couple, they're okay. Or they have a kid, it's a family, they're okay. Let me ask you if you remember Bonnie and Clyde.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. They were a couple, okay?
Right.
So what I'm saying to you is you need to be alert and aware, whether it's a guy by himself, two guys, a woman, two women, a family with kids. You need to be alert and aware for no matter who you're working with. So let's diminish that right now. Let's stop that right now.
Yes, and I would agree. I love how passionate you are. It's funny because you and I were conversing a month or two ago, and you texted me and said, "Oh, I saw you have an open house this weekend. What's your safety plan?" I'm like, "I love you. Thank you." And I mean, I said, like, "Do you mean COVID or like my personal safety?" You said both. I love how passionate you are about it, Tracy.
And we're in a day and age where there's a whole nother level of somewhat dangers when it's time for open houses specifically. And one thing that I say, we'll put the COVID aside for a moment. Let's just talk about a regular open house. Your job description as a real estate agent is that you make a living sitting in empty houses, waiting for strangers to walk in. You make a living meeting complete strangers in empty houses. How does that sound?
Awful.
Kind of dangerous, right?
Yeah.
But my job is not to scare you. And I don't want agents to ever say I'm scared to death. I don't want to scare you. I want to empower you. And to empower you, I have to educate you. So the way to take the danger out of an open house is to increase the witness potential, even if you're alone. So if someone's coming into an open house, first and foremost, they have to understand as consumers how you feel. You're sitting there, you don't know them. So they need to understand why you're doing what you're doing, why you're saying what you're saying. I say increase the witness potential. You can do that as simply as having a sign up that there are cameras, whether or not they're cameras. But if you think about it, Lettiann, most houses nowadays have cameras. So you already have a built-in witness. And I say, make sure that the maybe would-be consumer knows that there are witnesses. If you're going to commit a crime, someone's going to see you that will be able to identify you. So that right there reduces the likelihood of being victimized. And that also protects the seller. So sellers, you know your agent is working for you. You can also print out beware cameras, or you're on surveillance camera, or smile, you're on camera. And I say post those throughout the house. And so just stick it on the wall outside of the master bedroom, put a sign right up front, when you enter the house that everyone knows you're on camera. That right there significantly decreases a criminal's ability to do what they want to do without witnesses. So again, whether or not there are cameras, give the impression that there are. Let's talk a little bit about the COVID safety part. That's a whole totally different issue. So for sellers who have their houses on the market, if your agent is asking you to do a few things, it's for your own good. And you need to be very happy that your agent is looking out for you. That means turning on light switches, opening cabinets and closets and blinds so that the buyer doesn't have to touch it. You want as few touches as possible while someone is in your house. So if your agent's asking you to disinfect surfaces and open, then respect what they're doing and comply. As far as looking at houses, if you're out there looking at houses, if your agent is asking you to wear a mask and maybe even the little booties, it's not only for their protection, your protection, and also the sellers. So a safety aware agent is better than one who says, oh, whatever, because I just got back from South Dakota. They never closed. So I'm talking to agents about, driving around in the cars and open house safety. They say, oh, we don't wear a mask. We don't worry about that. I was petrified. And it's like, that's not cute. You think it's cute, you're being cool or laid back, whatever. But what is that telling the sellers? What is that telling the buyers? That you're not respecting them, both sides of it. So if you are a safety aware agent, I applaud you.
Yes. And what we try to do, Tracy, is meet the client at their safety level. If we don't know what's on the other side of the door, we don't know if they have an autoimmune deficiency, we don't know. But if they're saying, look, we're concerned about COVID, we'd love to sell our home, and we just lay out the safety plan. Here's the plan. Here's how we're going to show this house safely. We meet people where they are, and that includes buyers as well. Look, we want to look at other people's homes, but here's the deal. I say, whatever is your comfort level, we're going to match you at your comfort level.
Right. You can't go wrong when you lead with safety. You cannot. No one can blame you if you say, I'd rather wear a mask, it's for my protection, for your protection, or it's for the seller's protection. No one in their, how do I say this nicely? No responsible person could be angry at you for adopting PPE, for wearing and doing, whatever it takes to keep the others safe. And I tell agents to lead with safety. If you always say, I'm doing this for your safety, the seller safety, the buyer safety, you're standing out above the other agent who's so focused on the commission. They're saying, I'm not going to get into all that. I just want to show the house and sell it. You're saying, no, wait a minute. Let's talk about safety first. So, and then even with the open houses, telling your sellers to get valuables out of sight, with the listing agents. And I get to talk to a lot of real estate agents across the country. And I always say, include safety in the conversation. So if your house is going to be on the market, Lettiann or one of her agents, they're telling you, get your jewelry out of jewelry boxes, get medicine out of medicine cabinets, those stacks of mail. I'm not calling you messy, but I am saying get those out of sight, because you could have bank statements, financial statements, medical information just laying around. And a criminal walking through your house can take any of that and either use it against you or just steal from you. So when Lettiann and her agents or any agents telling you, this is what I need you to do, get those personal pictures down. They're not trying to inconvenience you. And as sellers, you need to know this is what we need to do, because we don't know who's walking through our house. We need to do what our agent is telling us to do to keep our family, our possessions, and ourselves safe while our houses are on the market.
So Tracy, what would you arm if you were going to tell me, Lettiann, I want you to be armed with this, and this for my personal safety as a realtor, what would you say I need?
Okay, and this is a question I get all the time. And what I say is, first and foremost, you have to have what makes you comfortable. I like when you said you meet your clients where they are, your consumer where they are. That's most important. That goes for your safety too. That means I have so many agents who say, my husband or my wife says I need to carry your gun, and they're not comfortable with guns. So that tells me that your gun is going to be in your bottom of your purse or somewhere where you can get to it because you're not comfortable with it. Pepper spray is ideal. And as a matter of fact, when the National Association of Realtors surveyed real estate agents, pepper spray was the #1 non-lethal safety device, safety tool that agents use, and it always is. Know what you're carrying. You need to know the difference between mace, which is a brand name, and CNCS, which is tear gas. If you pull your pepper spray out of the pouch and it has CN or CS on the label, that's tear gas. Toss it now, because that's an antiquated formula. It's designed to induce pain. So if you're spraying someone who's under the influence, it's not going to stop them, and it may even escalate the attack. You need something that says OC. That's pure pepper. Knowing that nothing is 100%, what that's going to do is make the eyes burn in water. It's going to swell the mucous membranes. They're coughing, gasping for air. But the key is it's natural. It's non-lethal. The effects last 30 to 40 minutes, just enough time for you to get out of that dangerous situation and get to safety. So pepper spray is the #1 non-lethal safety product. Do your research, make sure it's not expired, test it before you need it. When we talk about technology, and because of this pandemic, everyone has had to go to technology. So there's no excuses anymore. No such thing as I'm not comfortable with it. You've had to be comfortable with it in order to socialize and to stay in business. Utilize a safety app. Here's one thing. Everyone has a smartphone already. If you have Google on your phone, if you use Google Maps, you already have one of the safest tools that you'll ever, never not buy. One thing that the map does, it allows you to share your location with someone else. You don't have to pay for an app that's going to tell someone where you are. You don't have to pay for an app that will send a message to your contact list saying, here's where I am. And my fear with those kind of apps is that if your safety plan is, if I'm in trouble, I'll push this button and my contact list will get a location where I am. You're sending them to a crime scene. It's already after the fact. So you need to layer. You need to layer your safety plans. So the Google Maps will allow someone to see where you are at all times in real time. All they have to do is log in, and you can see the car moving. You can see where they are. You can see the location. That's already in place, and you decide who you share it with. It could be a spouse, it could be your real estate assistant, it could be another agent, it could be a sibling, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And you allow them to know your location for a set amount of time. It could be 1 hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be until I tell you no longer allow that information. So that's one layer. Another layer is utilizing technology to help you avoid danger. Forewarn is a great one, and I don't know if we have that locally now or not, but I know it's on the agenda at some point. Forewarn allows you to type in a phone number and do a background check. And everything that I say about agents being safe, I know, and you need to know, that the seller, buyer, consumer can do the same thing to the agent. So everybody needs to know what's out there. So Forewarn allows you to type in a phone number to check out who you're about to meet. So you need to know if the seller that you're going to see, if they truly own the house, if they're not, make sure they're not a criminal, that they're the legitimate owners of the house. There's a financial background check. Before you meet a buyer, you need to make sure you're not meeting a criminal. And a lot of times there are more stories in the news now of people perpetrating themselves or perpetrating and pretending to be real estate agents. So a seller may be checking you out too. So know what's out there about you and just do your homework. And then there's another app that I love, Lettiann, I think you saw this one, the Agent SafeWalk app. That's one that has a live component. Any safety app needs to have someone who is there live saying, are you okay? You know, what do you need? And more importantly, the person you're meeting needs to see, oh, you know, they pushed a button and all of a sudden a face pops up. Hey, are you okay? You know, what do you need? And they're thinking, oh, this person's not alone. There's a witness and they know where they're located. So those are levels. The Google map, the Forewarn, check out who you're going to meet in advance is proactive. And then finally, Agent SafeWalk is like, you're not alone, here's someone. So be proactive as opposed to waiting until something happens to trigger some kind of safety plan.
Tracy, such good information. And thank you for taking it to the next level, because by me just saying I have an exit plan out the back door, what you're saying way surpasses that. I love the fact about the witnesses. I love the fact of have layers in place, let someone know where you're going, and have a witness even with the agent walk, that you have someone walking with you.
Safe walk. Right.
So safe walk, right. And we just have just a few minutes left, and the sun is setting on your beautiful face.
That's what I was going to say. I thought I was doing the right thing getting in front of the window, but you know what? I'm not complaining because the sun is out, and that beats the alternative. So I won't complain.
And it's a beautiful day. If you wanted to move back, that's fine. I mean, if that sun is in your eyes, we have just a few minutes left. Perfect. What tips can you leave us in the last 2 minutes of the show here? With even the consumer, because these are just awkward times, right?
Right, for everyone. The most important thing I can say, every single person who is listening to the sound of my voice, we all have a built-in survival mechanism, and it is hardly ever wrong. You need to listen to it, and you need to respect it. Do you know what it is, Lettiann?
Intuition.
Intuition, exactly. Intuition, instinct, gut, sixth sense, fight or flight. Every single one of us, no matter what situation you're talking about, real estate, going to the grocery store, just living, if that voice is telling you something's wrong, instead of trying to be nice and excusing it and dismissing it, listen to it. Get out of the situation and then step back. Maybe you need to go back and apologize or explain later, but that voice doesn't come from just nowhere. Listen to it. Have a safety plan in place. That means do your homework. That means get safety training, whether it's for your home safety, do a fire drill, plan in advance, do a fire drill. If your house catches on fire, you know, where are you all going to meet? Who's going to be the one to call to let everyone know you're okay? What is the plan in place for that? Any circumstance situation in your car, do you have an auto club? If your car breaks down, do you have a survival kit in your car? What's in your emergency kit? Do you have the basics, a jumper cable, a battery charger, a power bank? Just no matter what the circumstances are, I stress being proactive. Don't wait until something horrible happens and then try to react. Have a plan in place. And part of that means get safety training, just learning what you need to know so that when the time comes, you are prepared, because no one can think fast on their feet.
Preparation is key. You're saying so many things that I want to take notes, but I'm just gonna go back and rewatch this episode a few times. I'm gonna share it with my office, of course. But honor your intuition is huge. That voice has something to say it. And if you need to get the hell out, get the hell out. And if you misread it, you can go back and apologize. Here's what I thought. I didn't really know you. I'm sorry. Was just looking out for my, our safety. But even a phone number for if you need roadside assistance. I just got I had 2 flat tires. Happened to run over some screws at a construction site, and I couldn't find the 800 number for roadside assistance. So I'm like, Lettiann, you ding dong. You're normally really prepared for this. So I was like, wow, I'm really letting some things slide. I'm losing focus of what if this was at nighttime? There's not always someone to call. You need to be prepared and aware. So Tracy, wow, I learned something from you every time I see you. And if anyone wants to reach out or has questions, what's the best place to contact you?
You can go my Facebook page. That's where I share information, safety, and security source. That's also my website. Tracy, the Safety Lady, is my Twitter and my Instagram handles. And one thing that I do, Lettiann, is that I am constantly creating content, whether it's articles that I write or videos with safety tips for everyone. I think I just did one on pepper spray. So if you didn't catch all the pepper spray information, go to my social media, look for the video, and I explain it. And most latest one, I talked about the instinct, intuition, how to use it, how to listen to it. So I am always adding content to help people live and work safely. And I'm doing it now for small businesses. I'm doing summits, like you mentioned, where I'm gathering other subject matter experts. And we're doing it for real estate companies to reduce liability, as well as small businesses who don't always have a security department. Let me bring the experts together. And just like the one you attended, you can learn from true subject matter experts.
I encourage you to follow Tracy. And Tracy, one last thing. If anyone wanted to see what type of products you offered, can they go also just to the Facebook page or your website and see the products and order products there?
Perfect question. Way to end the interview, because holiday season, and I find it my website, and then I'm going to be featuring a lot of them on my Facebook page. And a lot of people locally have seen me on TV, whether it's Fox 4 or Channel 5, where I get to talk about all kinds of safety and security products. But I make sure on my Facebook page, I tell you where you can find those items. And I'm about to do a video on the most requested or the best safety gifts to give during COVID season. So watch for that video where I talk about the items and where to get them.
I love it. Tracey Hawkins, the Safety Lady. Always good to see you, Tracy. Thank you so much for your time and being on our show and sharing this very, very important information.
And thank you for doing this for your consumers and your neighbors and your community. I think you're fabulous, Lettiann.
So kind of you. I appreciate that. And we appreciate you watching and tuning in today to our podcast, Real Estate You with Lettiann. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode.